Hello and welcome to Gavecca's kitchen. I'm Gavin Knechts and behind the camera is my wife Rebecca.
Hello.
Okay, and today we are going to be making Coca-Cola ketchup. Okay, it's exactly as it sounds. We have a bottle of Coca-Cola, 1 litre. Okay, so what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to take some tomato puree. This is 400 grams. Okay, it's regular tomato puree from a tube. Okay, I'm going to add the Coca-Cola and I'm going to boil it down to a syrup. Before I put in the Coca-Cola, I'm actually going to flavour this with some chives. Okay, that's about a tablespoon. I've got just over a teaspoon of parsley. This is dried parsley. Here I have 1.5 chopped finger chilies. Here I have half a bowl of garlic, roughly chopped. Okay, so I have a heaped teaspoon of salt. As you can probably see, it's come out over the board. Okay, I have some chili vinegar which I made myself. I do have a video for this and I will post a link in the description. Okay, and this is about 100 milliliters. Okay, so if I haven't forgotten anything, and without further ado, let's get this on the stove. Okay, so now I'm going to get the tomato puree onto the stove. No oil, there's enough oil in this stuff. Okay, so the pan is not sizzling hot, but it's too hot to put my hand into, so that means it's ready to cook. Okay, you can probably start to hear that now. Okay, so I'm putting it all in at once. I'm not going to do it in bits and pieces. There's no need because it's all going to end up the same way anyway. Okay, so I'm going to take a wooden spoon to do this. Okay, and I'm just going to circulate it around. Okay, and this will remove the bitterness that you normally get with tomato puree. Just going to leave that for a moment. Okay, now I'm going to add a tiny bit of the vinegar just to make this more of a liquid. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the parsley and the chives. And give it another quick stir. And add a little more of the vinegar. And now I'm going to add in the chili. Okay, and now it's time to add in the garlic. And the salt that's on the tablespoon. Okay, and I'll try to get all the dry bits off the board now and put all that in together. And then I'll finish by putting the rest of the vinegar inside.
And so I'm just going to let that bubble for a moment. And I can tell you that smells absolutely fantastic. I'll try to get the rest of these dry bits off the board now. I'll probably be making a mess. I'm not going to worry about that because we can clean that up later. So now I'm going to start adding the Coca-Cola. Okay, and you can use a cheaper cola, just don't use any of the diet-free varieties because we do need the sugar from this. The sugar will give it its consistency and it will also act as a preservative. Okay, just a little bit at a time to begin with, so we don't have any excessive foam or bubbles. Okay, so I've still got this on high heat. As soon as all of the cola has gone in, I'll turn it down and then I'll simmer it a little bit until I get the right consistency. Okay, now that's starting to spit. So what I do now is I'm going to add a good dose of the Coca-Cola to try and get the heat down a little bit. I'll bring it back up to the boil, I'll put some more in, and then I'll turn the heat down. And then finally, once everything is in, I can cook it on about medium heat, and then just simmer it down just to reduce it. And then we should have the consistency of ketchup. When it has the consistency of normal ketchup, then you know your ketchup is done. Okay, so put a bit more in now. Now I'm going to bring it back up to the boil before I put any more in. And you don't have to do it in a rush. If you're not that confident, just do it very slowly, a little bit at a time. Okay, and that's already beginning to smell as I expected. Okay, so I'm just going to taste it a moment with a teaspoon. Okay, that definitely needs to be thinned down a little bit. Okay, well, if you're not a big fan of heat, you could leave the chilies out. Okay, this is a little bit spicy, having tasted this. Hopefully, as I add more Coca-Cola, it will get sweeter. At least that's the idea. Okay, so I'll just bring this to the boil and then we can leave it to simmer for a little bit.
Okay, now so it's finished cooking. It's been on the hob for about 40 minutes or so. It's a little bit thinner than a normal ketchup, but it's still cooling down, and as it will cool down, it will thicken. Okay, so I'm just going to taste this. Oh yes, you can definitely taste the Coca-Cola. It is very spicy. Okay, you don't need to use the chilies if you don't like it hot, and you don't need to use chili vinegar. You could just use a normal spirit vinegar or something like that. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. You can definitely taste that there's Coca-Cola in there. It's not overpowering. It's very tasty actually. Okay, so I need to wait for this to cool down before I put it into a bottle, and that will be the next step. So, see you soon. So, now the ketchup has cooled down and thickened. Let's take a look at that. We're going to bottle it. Okay, so now here I have a swing top bottle. It's completely sterilized. Okay, and I'm going to use a funnel to put it into the bottle. Okay, this has also been sterilized. It's not difficult to sterilize bottles and funnels and other equipment. You just need to put it into hot water. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to do this carefully because the funnel doesn't fit quite so well, so I'm just going to do a little bit at a time to begin with. Okay, and there's no exact science to this. Just drop it in. Some of you might be wondering why I'm not using a large ladle to get more in. Well, it's because I need to do this slowly. Okay. So nothing has come through just yet, but that basically is because this is very thick. Now it's starting to come through. Okay, so I'm just wondering if we can get an angle on this. And yes, it is very thick. I'm quite happy with the way that this is thickened. It's not quite as smooth as tomato ketchup. You can see the little bits of garlic in there, but it is quite fine. And it's very tasty. That's the most important thing. Okay, so this is a little time consuming. I hope that it all goes into the bottle. It's a 500 milliliter brown beer bottle. There was some German Schwarzbier inside before, really tasty. And it's a shame to give the bottle back. These bottles are quite expensive to buy online, and if you take the bottle back here in Germany, there's a fan system which is something like a deposit, and I think you get 8 cents back for the bottle. Maybe 15 on these swing tops, I'm not 100% sure. But they are quite expensive to buy online. I think they cost €2.99 per bottle or something. So if you ever have these bottles, like a Gross bottle for example, if you live in the UK, don't throw them away, keep them, sterilise them, because otherwise you'll end up paying a fortune for them online for something that's basically waste. Okay, so now that's starting to come through a little bit more thickly. And I'm sure Rebecca's going to have difficulty filming me because I keep standing up and sitting down. I'm very sorry about that. And she's doing a brilliant job. Okay. So once again, a little bit at a time. It is worth taking your time because if you spill this, you know, you've only got sort of half a litre of this stuff, and if you spill it anywhere, considering the effort that you've been to do it, it is better. Take your time, don't make mistakes, and ultimately you've got a good product. If any of you are wondering if it really is worth going to the trouble to make Coca-Cola ketchup, honestly it really is. Okay, I suppose it does depend on your viewpoint, but I really do like this. It tastes really nice. It's something different. You don't just need to use it as a condiment. You could use this as a marinade. I imagine this would go really, really well with ribs. I suppose you could lighten it and you could use it to glaze a chicken or something like that. Maybe thin it out a little bit. You could use it as a base of another sauce. I mean, this is really versatile. And the good thing with this as well, I didn't put too much salt in there. If you like it a little bit more salty, you could add salt later on. Okay. So it is getting a little blocked, but that's because it's thick, you know. And it is better too thick than too runny. It will last longer. There's a lot more sugar in this. So you have the sugar that acts as a preservative as well. And people often talk about the chemicals in Coca-Cola, but they're relatively harmless. You know, they're E numbers. There's some caffeine in there. And it's absolutely delicious. Okay, there will be natural preservatives in the Coca-Cola, but you've probably boiled most of those off in the cooking process. Okay, I was tempted to add some potassium sorbate to this so that it lasts a little longer, but because I've only got a bottle, you know, I'm probably going to use it up in a week, and this will stay in the fridge for 3 months. Okay, so it should be somewhere halfway full now, not far off. I'll happily take any questions that you have about sauces. I could use this or similar recipe to make something like the German currywurst, and then of course I'd add curry powder to it and maybe make it a little thinner, maybe add a little less chili, and it's quite nice, very versatile. One thing I must say though, the Coca-Cola has been concentrated, which of course means that the level of caffeine is also concentrated. So be careful if you're giving this to children, okay? The last thing you want to do is go to your friend's barbecue with your kids and they'll be awake all night after eating this stuff. The other good thing about doing this slowly is that I'm not going to overfill the bottle. I think if it was a little bit runny and it went straight through and it got a little bit blocked in the funnel and then I poked out the blockage, then I could overfill the bottle, which of course is something to avoid. And now it's starting to come through nicely. Oh, the smell is delicious. I can smell the garlic, I can smell the parsley, I can smell the chives. Can't really smell the Coca-Cola, but of course I can smell the tomatoes. And it smells absolutely fantastic. I can smell the sweetness as well. You can pause that if you like. So now I have a full bottle, and I had a little bit too much, So I have a jar which is also about another 100 milliliters. Okay, can you catch the colour on that? Okay. Yeah, okay. So that just about concludes making the Coca-Cola ketchup. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as we've enjoyed making it. And we'll see you next time. Okay, ciao for now.